I do want to talk as we're hitting the greatest hits on this show. I do want to talk about our old friend Mark Merrill,
Oh, he's back again too.
chief
Fucking hell.
chief product officer of Riot Games, in charge of making sure that the products are good. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the powers of the CEO. He could be overruled. And the CEO, people are very angry and confused, it seems, about Riot's current monetization model, forgetting that the former CFO of Riot was magically transformed into the CEO. And they're like, wait, greedy monetization? Who could have seen this coming when the CFO was put in the CEO position? Because he's not a product guy. And Mark Merrill was the one also who went on Tyler One's stream and said, hey, man, actually, he implied that the League of Legends game leadership had become complacent and that they had made garbage and that they needed to be replaced. And now we can argue about the current state of the game, which I would say not great as a product.
I love the way he did trash his own org too. That was brilliant, wasn't it? I know.
Also, the monetization model has been getting a lot of scrutiny. I don't want to get Yamato into trouble here, okay, by talking too much about Mark Merrill. So I do want to let it be known that Yamato does, in fact, really love Mark Merrill. And
I've seen some of his retweets, so I'm
he used to love Mark Merrill. He actually made love to Mark Merrill. It's true. It's true. And he was. I want to make sure everybody knows he was 18 the second time. Okay. So
what's happening? What is happening? You're making it worse.
I don't know why we never saw this pod as well. The obvious one is that like fucking nursery rhyme, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That's what I think about when I think about League of Legends and Riot.
What I'm saying is don't get mad at Yamato. This is me talking, Mark. But when basically the product of League of Legends is just getting enshittified right now. And enshittification is when we reach the death stage of a tech product, guys, where you just put more and more bullshit on it to make it worse while trying to like maximize the amount of money you're making. And a lot of this has come around because of the idea that these hex tech chests should be free and you should be getting more stuff on average, and that obviously they've moved to this gacha system and the skins and everything like that have declined in quality, where you're not actually getting custom animations or custom effects anymore. It feels like it's just being recolored or the art is done badly. And so I actually haven't seen it's been a long time since I've seen this much outrage publicly about League of Legends, and it feels like everybody is actually like highly dissatisfied by this. And I think it boils down to obviously the expense and the going after whales in this game, but also the fact that people were used to having some level of progression naturally and at least being able to unlock champions by kind of pursuing their normal play. And I will say, if you guys are angry at kind of going about what you were doing, but not actually getting rewarded for it, I would check out our sponsor, the Upside app, because you guys are going to be out there. I never gave a shit about this because I wasn't spending money on LoL, but like, I'm just surprised at how mad people are. And it's not like the Reddit echo chamber. It's like big YouTubers in League of Legends are making videos that are getting a lot of views. So it seems like it's more widespread. And I see also on Twitter constantly these like million view like impression posts coming up from literal randoms who are mad about LoL monetization shit.
No, it's just like the mistake you should never do, right? It's like if you have a product, you give something for free, you can never take that back. And how Riot has always done when they've like made the battle passes worse or the rewards for anything worse. They've always nerfed it really, really hard in the direction, and then in response to the outrage, they're like, "Oh, we are gonna give you something back," and then it's like, "Oh, wow, they listened to us, but did they really? They gave you, they like removed 100 in that direction, and then they gave you 20 back, and you're happy, you know?" It's like I thought the Hextech chests would come back after the outrage. They would take the win, they would nerf them, but then they would just be like, "Oh, look at this, we listened to our community and just take the win." But
yeah,
it's
but
like,
Yamato, I see you've never encountered a company where a CFO becomes the CEO before, because like it's actually impossible, because these people are so stupid about products, Yamato, that they just say, well, it doesn't matter what the user thinks because we're still going to do this, and it means revenue go up, you know, because they don't see the long game, right?
I see this so often. It's like it's just always the same thing. It's like everything is just short-term driven, because it's like and not having rewards for being in the client for long. Like if you have somebody who doesn't spend money but he just spends time in the client, that's the whole point. Like any live service, the whole point is that you incentivize people to spend time in your game. It's like we had the conversation the last time. I don't know which episode we talked about, like Warcraft 3. The modding community kept it alive. People bought CD keys after CD keys just to play the game, and the Warcraft, like the modding team, like all the maps, etc., kept the game going. Same thing for Skyrim or Baldur's Gate 3. It's like the game keeps alive. There's incentives to, of course, be in the game. But now it's like you remove something that people have had for so long for just short-term profit. Like for me, the writing has been on the wall for a very long time, because I have always been very surprised with the fact that like League has survived in the shape that it has for so long, because getting into League is impossible. And the community always conflates numbers at the World Championship or like esports numbers with player numbers. It's like the stories of the World Championship are very, very digestible. It's like you look at the world stories, the previews, you see T1 versus Chovy. It's like, bro, like anyone that loves competition will watch that and be like, damn, this is good entertainment. And it's like those things are just not in line at all. So it's like I understand from Riot's perspective that it's like they are making less money. I don't see how they can revitalize anything, because they're just laying off people, right? And they're just trying to save money. It's like now it's like League of Legends is basically the caterpillar that is going to form into the butterfly in other games. It's like they are trying to milk it as much as possible to make sure that the IP is strong, so they can leverage it into the next generation of games, whether that is Valorant or something that they're building, because it's like the Riot MMO. I don't know if that's going to happen, because that's also a massive and very, very difficult undertaking. It's like always when you create games at this scale, like keeping up with what is concurrent is so damn difficult. So it's like always, it's like this is so reminiscent. It's like I said like 2 years ago that we have passed the Lich King stage of World of Warcraft, and now we've entered like Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, and it's like the numbers, we're going to like feel a steady burn. And when someone like does the Pandora video, like this Hextech moment is going to be a big one. The comment from the CEO from 2 years ago, the 2025 will be the biggest League of Legends investment year, like that will be just plastered all over that video. We're gonna have like a 2-year dissection of like the lawsuit that happened and all the story of Riot things and the Hextech chest, and that will be like glorious to watch. But I love the game, I love the stories of the game, but everything around it is like, what can you really do? Because I do understand the problem. It's like if people are not spending money, what do you really do? It's like they need to just funnel the money from League into the other things. It's like we already know how much, like for example, Arcane costs.
I don't know, Yamato. If they're really hurting for money, and you know, here's some things that I might have done instead of trying to basically strip mine my audience for every possible dollar. Okay, I'm going to start with this one. Not chase away the lead developer of my MMO project into another MMO with his own studio, because apparently Ghostcrawler would rather fuck off, restart another MMO with ostensibly fewer resources at a startup developer. Now, sure, he owns it, but don't you think if that Riot MMO was going well, that he would have stayed and shipped that before doing his own? Yeah, something clearly is wrong. They've had to restart the entire MMO project. It's now years out. And so they need every bloody penny apparently they can get, because they've canceled all their other games, basically. I mean, they canceled Riot Forge. They've killed other games. You know, their fighting game is still coming out. The other thing, Yamato, I just might not have done is spend $250 million on Arcane. Because there's no way that Arcane makes that money back, because there's nothing to funnel Arcane fans into. They didn't create an onboarding system for League of Legends. There is no MMO to release. There isn't another game that's been released with the Riot IP.
I'll give you a free thing you could have made, Monty. I'll even give you a cynical version, not what I would do. I would make like an actual set of skins for Caitlyn and Vi or whatever, where if you play them on the same team, they have like a fucking animation like the Lovers one where they kiss. There you go. I've just been woke and I've made you millions of dollars. That's an instant sale from the Overwatch crowd, Monty. They didn't even do that. They just did the series and went, it was good, wasn't it? And it's like, well, how does it? It's like that meme, like, how does this make us money? Money? We're just making cool animes and shit. Like, what?
Well, it could make the money in the long run, but if they need, my point is that if they need money now, and the things that they're doing with League of Legends are because they need money now, then they should not have made Arcane now. Period. If the things they are doing with League of Legends are not because they need money now, then why are they doing them?
It's always been the same, right? It's like everything that Riot has spent money on, esports, Arcane 2, it was supposed to be the vehicle to make people play the game and to, like, I don't know how much money they made off of esports, right? In terms of just like Chovy using a skin or whatever. I wonder how much they lost on the fact that Faker plays skinless. Like, the CFO is like just angry about that.
There was even a tweet the other day in Valorant that made me think of that, because Durka, who's one of the best Western players ever in Valorant, even did a tweet where he kept complaining, like, Riot, give me access to the skins, I can't play without them. And I almost, if it wasn't the fact it'd be rude to him, I was almost going to quote tweet it like what Riot wishes Faker was like in an alternate dimension. Because it's like, you're true. To win, especially because he makes the world skins too. Come on, bro. That's even worse. The guy who doesn't play with skins doesn't even play with his own skins.
I mean, I would not be surprised if you told me that Riot would have made $100 million more from Faker playing skins, I would honestly fucking believe you. I would believe that.
Think about all the Korean fans who would just constantly buy them all and just to be loyal. And so, by the way, if you said a percentage went to Faker as well, they make so much money. So much money, mate. So much money. I'd even have had one where it was like fucking, I'd have them all. I'd have like one where it was like a Faker one where it's like you had Door's voice line, look at the moves, or whatever. Like, I'd have all that. That'd be cynical as fuck. That's what I hate. They're so shit at even being corporate sellouts. Like, if I was going to sell out, mate, I'd do it with style. You know what I mean? Listen, if you're going to suck the dick, go all the way to the balls and then put them in your mouth. I don't want to give that advice. I don't even know who that advice is to. It's a metaphor. It's just a metaphor, kids.
Just swallow it like a python.
Exactly.
But I do see that angle, like of the metaphor. I do see the angle because it's like they could do announcers, they could do like banners, they could do recall animations, they could do so much. They could do so much. You know, they could really give a full experience in terms of monetization potential. Yeah.
But I just think I just think that the entire conversation is just so weird because Riot is behaving in a way as if they don't have money, but then they're doing everything else. Like, it's possible that the cash has just dropped off a cliff and that they don't think they have any new money coming in soon. But for a decade, they were just rolling in billions of dollars. And I'm pretty sure League of Legends will still make billions of dollars a year. So where is all this fucking money going? Like, how much money is being pumped into this MMO? Right? I mean, I can tell you that this was in, the early 2010s, but the thing about Overwatch was the reason why Overwatch cost like $500 million to make was because it was a failed MMO that then got turned into something else. So it's not that Overwatch cost $500 million. It's that they spent several $100 million trying to make this MMO, failed, and then like kind of just managed to make Overwatch out of the failure. But that also was them creating their own engine for Overwatch, which is a lot less common these days. I mean, maybe Riot's doing it, but I think most big studios just use Unreal these days, and there's very few people creating their own engine anymore. So I find that questionable. And it's like, where is this cash going, and why is it so important that now we have to dial back on all the stuff that League of Legends players and fans have been accustomed to for years? Are we really going to make that much more money, especially, in Asia? So, a lot of you're really just hurting Western monetization in a way, because a lot of the Hextech chests were used for people to get champions, but in PC cafes in Asia, all the champions are unlocked anyway. And maybe that's why they don't care about removing Hextech chests. They figure they could just milk some more dollars out of Americans and
and this
euros
is
out of
just the
Europeans.
joke, Monty, is that's where, again, some CFO guy would go, well, there you go, there's the answer. Let's put all of our funding into making land centers in North America, and then we'll give away the skins for everyone who plays there, which obviously just wouldn't work as the joke. Because I don't, what Monty means by that, by the way, is the kind of person who's a pencil pusher and just works with an Excel sheet. They will do stuff unironically that's just like, right, remove this thing over here that's costing all the money. It's like, sir, that was actually the product that we were making. No, just keep this thing over here that makes all the money. Yeah, so that doesn't actually, that's like a legacy product that's no longer available. Like they don't understand creative side of it, basically. Like they're supposed to just be the guys who do the finance shit. I'm with you, mate.
I just think they don't understand fan sentiment. And what's weird is that Riot, I mean, this is, let's be clear, this has never been true of Riot, but what they love to say about themselves is we are the most player focused company in the world. That's like their motto, guys. And I don't understand how you could legitimately look at the things that they are doing as a Riot employee or as a Riot executive and say, this is player focused. And for all of Riot's faults, some of the things they've done in terms of creating value with skins or with Arcane. I mean, Arcane is a good product. There's nothing wrong with Arcane, right? I'm not saying Arcane shouldn't have been made because it's not good in its own right. I'm saying Arcane shouldn't have been made because it was a bad financial strategy. And maybe it'll be wrong when their League of Legends MMO pops the fuck off and they convinced people that the world was cool because of Arcane. And I think they did a great job world building in Arcane. It's much more convincing than the garbage lore in League of Legends. I'll tell you that. Like, nobody wants to play a fucking MMO if you just play League of Legends. If you see Arcane, you're interested in like Piltover and Zaun and the, you know, all of the immense landscapes and artwork and everything they put into is beautiful. But I think like maybe that will happen, but the MMO may never get released. And it's probably minimum 4 years from being released, minimum. So what's, you know, they're just going to keep making more animations, they said, in that time. Like, how much money are they going to dump into this thing in the hopes that the MMO pops off? And if the MMO is just another, you know, gotcha machine, are people really going to latch on to the MMO either? Because I think the thing about MMOs, and I've always hated MMOs, so I'm definitely the wrong person to talk about this, but I'll talk about it anyway, is that I think they don't mind paying the monthly fee because you have access to all this stuff and it's like a relatively low fee for how much entertainment you get out of it on a monthly basis and how, you know, it connects you and your friends and everything like that. But if there is a real serious gotcha mechanic in an MMO, I don't know how much that like drives people away, especially Western people, from these kind of games.
And I think the most disappointing aspect was it's like Riot. It's like in terms of their position where they were just a couple of years back, I felt like they really mastered like the art of just like, you know, late gratification in terms of like they captured the fan base. It's like anything Riot would do, like they would just have so much attention, very similar to like where Blizzard once was, right? It's like Warcraft 3 and StarCraft. It's like Diablo. They just had bangers on bangers, and then it's like they announced World of Warcraft, and they had Mr. T. It's like, what's your game? It's like in terms of how they just like everyone trusted the products they would make, and how it would just how they just had the focus of like the majority players that would play online games. And it's like in terms of how you leverage that, it's like this Hextech chess move is such a shit PR move. Because it's like we had like the 10-year announcement. We had the first like our first Arcane season was announced for the first time. There was like that trailer video where we saw like hints of like that fighting game, and it's like Valorant came out. It's like they were making like good moves. But I'm just worried. It's like what is the next good move? Because this is such a bad step in the right direction. It's like I don't know if they will foresee. Just in terms of what big of a PR disaster this is, it's like, what will be the cost of whatever future thing you'll do? Because you have lost the trust the same way Blizzard lost the trust. Is it just inevitable when you get to that size that this has to happen?
It's just the money, Yamato. Like, unfortunately, you really have to fight against the enshittification of the product. And let me give you an example from Blizzard. Now, we can say like, oh, look at the Blizzard golden age, right? That stretched from the late 90s. You know, this was like Diablo 1, StarCraft, Diablo 2, Warcraft 3, into World of Warcraft, into, you know, kind of up until Overwatch, honestly. StarCraft 2, you know, whatever. StarCraft 2 is probably the worst game in that stretch, but it's fine. Whatever. It's still good. But one of the things that Blizzard realized, and this is very famous about Blizzard, is that when they started to release microtransactions in WoW, I think they released this fucking like horse, and the horse made more money than StarCraft 2. And at that point, it's like, why are we even making StarCraft 2 when we can just spend 10 minutes fucking recoloring a horse or whatever? And that's where we're at with League of Legends, where maybe they're right. You know, maybe all of this anger will be for nothing, but it feels bigger this time. It feels like people are actually mad this time, which is surprising to me. You know, people were fake mad about the Faker Ahri skin, where it was just like a few stupid people. Like this one seems like very widespread outside of the normal League of Legends, like ultra fan echo chambers, and it is kind of percolated into the fan base at large, which I find different.
Even though I'm not a law guy, I'll explain like a key distinction here. The Faker one, you don't have to, if you're just a fan of casual League of Legends, there is no reason you ever have to buy the Faker skin. That is just for people who are specific fans of Faker, esports, and potentially like want a very unique Ahri skin by probably the best Ahri player ever. I mean, it's debatable, but he was an excellent Ahri player in his career, right? The difference with the current skins they're releasing is some of these were ones that if you were super into the lore of League of Legends and have loads of champions and skins, you really, really want this skin, and now you're basically being told by Riot, like, remember how the game was free at the beginning? I'm going to milk the fuck out of you at the end if you want to complete the set bit. If you want all the great lore skins, get them out. By the way, remember, back in the day when games like League came out, a game used to cost $50. Bro, the skin's like $250. One skin. So it's fucking milking people.
It's a maximum of $250. I mean, it's a gacha mechanic. So like you pay for like turns at the machine, and after $250, you're guaranteed to get it. But it's like, you know, extremely low drop chance. But yeah, it's shit. But it's like unsatisfying.
Like even those gacha games, right? It's like they create so many incentives for free-to-play players to just spend time in the game. Like, and Hextech Chess was that incentive. Like if they nerfed them slightly and said, skins released in the last year are not going to be included in the Hextech Chess, or like they did remove, like, I believe, like the legendary ones. I don't remember the exact names of like the tiers or whatever. They did remove some. Like if they did that lightly, more gently, they could have like gotten away with something here. I think the only win they can take is to reinstate them, because usually moments last a day and then it's like it moves on. The fact that this is lasting already a week with the attention span is really like every post. Like they made the big release of the Mordekaiser skin, right? It's supposed to be like a very huge lore point in terms of like the roots of Noxus, like Mordekaiser is trapped under, and the lore of Mordekaiser, like everybody's hyped, and like all the Mordekaiser mains were excited for this champion to come out. It's just getting memed, bro. There's like a Hextech Chess version of the Mordekaiser skin.
Funny. Yeah, it's like Mordekaiser made out of Hextech Chess.
Yeah. That is just that they need to, like, the trust is so important. That was your value. That was your value proposition. Anything that you would make would have the attention, and now it's just being killed very slowly, but also fast with this Hextech thing. That was like another stab in the bleeding horse. That is Riot Games.
Sad times.
I
need to find another game.
You mean
no, don't worry.
It's the only horse that doesn't make loads of money in esports.
Well, they do. They just get fed to it by, you know, Prince MBS.
Right. Okay.
He just straps the bag of oats on their face. But yeah,
I do like to strap things on people's faces. That's true.
Wow. Speaking of which, we'll do another Four Horsemen on the Saudyification of esports in a couple weeks.
That's going to be a series at this point in time. That's not we haven't finished revisiting that well. Come on.
It's only going to continue, man. It's only going to continue.
The question will always be, though, if you want to know the hardest part of doing those episodes, it's not doing the episodes, not the research, not the plan. It's finding the guests. That's the skill. Yeah.
I'm not coming.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.